We're in the home stretch, guys. So let's recap this opening day of the transfer portal. Look at the top 5 players graded today. Eric Singleton, who we just talked about, with a 93. Bear Alexander, defensive lineman, formerly at USC, with a 92. Wide receiver Mario Craver, also a 92. Fluff Bothwell, running back, at 91. And Cameron Olds, edge rusher, at a 91. Smoke, who would you say right now, based on what you've seen today, who's the player in the portal you're most excited to see where he ends up and what kind of impact he will have?
Bear Alexander. And it's not for a good thing. This guy's transferred at least, what is this for now, Coop? 6 times?
Well, if you're going back
to high school.
Back to high school.
Right.
It's been a lot.
So my question is, when he does show up, because he's talented, you see everything that you want in a defensive lineman, except drive, attitude, and playing as an unselfish player, which as a defensive lineman you have to do. So when you show up to the next place, what type of player are you going to get? And you and I can say we know what they're going to get. They're going to get a talented guy that when adverse time hits, and it will, that's why there's a reason why he's in the portal, most likely he's going to try to find another place to go. Intriguing talent, but scares the heck out of me if I'm in that position to pull the trigger.
I get it, and I think the teams here probably understand it too. I mean, I think what's going to hurt the most is probably Bear Alexander's bank account. There are not going to be a lot of teams that are say, hey, we're going to give you this money up front. If anything, try to incentivize him, and I think it would be, hey, one and done, and if you don't get right, then your opportunity to go into the NFL diminishes, and we're not going to put up with you. You kind of saw that with Cormani McLean, right. A little bit younger of a guy, but it's kind of worked out well for Florida. Obviously, we'll see what happens next year. A couple of these other names that stand out, I said it earlier, I think Eric Singleton, one of those guys that you can make an argument could be the number 1 player in the portal. Super smooth. You talk about his production as a freshman at Georgia Tech. This guy is super dynamic, and the guys ahead of him, Dane Key, Nick Anderson at the position, that's a little bit of more who your flavor is. The guy that popped up recently here within the next hour, Mario Craver. I think a lot of people will probably be looking at how do you have a guy top 15 with just over 300 yards. This dude is dynamic, man. You turn on the tape, he can win a lot of different ways. He's 5'9". There's some off-the-field stuff there. I mean, you go down the list of all these guys, they got something to them, whether it's medical or football character. But Craver, for a guy that small, is a long strider, super sudden. You talk about his start and stop speed, what he can do. Like I said earlier, he averaged over 21 yards per catch. This is a dynamic cat. I'm expecting a super, super hot market for him. He was committed to Tennessee before he flipped to Mississippi State. So Mario Craver, I think one of those guys that if you're a team out there, you're trying to get creative, this is one of those dudes that I think can move the needle for you, and certainly a guy that we're really high on.
We look at natural fits of a player that's in the portal in a school that would be the most optimal fit to utilize his ability for that school to get the impact there that could change the dynamic of their team. Is there one play you see in the portal, Smoke, that he's already in this school and he need to make it work and make it happen because they can make beautiful music?
Well, I'm going to throw one out there at you, Coop. Miller Moss can provide a team for the next level player that's already complete, ready to go, all ironed up, and you say, you know what? He's the next guy. Take Miller Moss and throw him at Texas A&M. Just remove the fact that Marcel Reed is there, but just a guy that can give you instant credibility, throw the ball all over the place, leadership, quality play, but you just need one guy to come in. Got the receivers. Defense played well. Marcel Reed is a mobile guy, but he's still young. And getting the ball to the receivers on a timely basis, not so much. So you bring that guy in to Texas A&M. Texas A&M did this all year long. Sell it, kill it. He can go in and provide the same thing that Cam Ward did and Cam Newton to Auburn in 1 year.
I like that one. I really do love the Miller Moss Louisville fit. I think it just makes sense with what Jeff Brom has done and his track record of developing quarterbacks. And you look back at Tyler Shuck, you look back at Jack Plummer, who we had there. I'm going to throw one off the wall a little bit. Drew Allard needs some help, and we saw what Drew Allard is capable of. I mean, I thought he played one of his best games at Penn State in the Big Ten championship. He needs some help. They brought in Julian Fleming last year that hasn't lived up to what a lot of people thought it would be. How about this? KC Concepcion. You can use that guy a lot of different ways, right? You can use him out of the slot. You can use him out of the backfield. I think it'd be Drew Aller's best friend in terms of what they want to do. I mean, they got a strong running game, strong offensive line. They need a little widget player, some eye candy. So even when he's not adding value with the ball in his hands, a little window dressing can take a little pressure off of Drew Aller in those eyes. And, man, he's coming into his own. So if I was Penn State, I'm doing the most to try to get him some weapons.
Can I give you one more?
Please do.
And I think this is one of our favorite. Thomas Castellanos, Florida State. Get him in there with that Gus Malzahn quarterback run-first offense. And he's a very, very capable passer into the ACC. Could give you the same thing that Kevin Jennings did to SMU.
I like it. And then, of course, we have the players that have not gone into the portal yet, but that there may be fits that are already looming there. Of course, if you're a Washington State fan, plug your ears. But does John Mateer end up following Ben Arbuckle to Norman? Does he follow the Cam Ward route and go to Miami? Or does he stay in Pullman? There's still a lot of layers to be left, but we have covered plenty of those layers today, and we'll be covering them all the way through during the rest of this portal time, and then when it reopens again after the playoffs and opens again in April in the spring. All kinds of action coming along. We thank you for tuning in. Cooper Patagna, Smoke Dixon, Emily Proud. I'm Brandon Huffman. Thanks for tuning in.